Hey, you, welcome to my podcast. Do you like amebo, unsolicited advice, and very unconventional opinions about Christianity, mental health, and psychology? Then you're in the right place. It's Monday Morning Brand with Miss James H&M. Let's go. Hello, my people. Welcome again to another beautiful episode of the Monday Morning Rant podcast. I hope you had a very lovely weekend and you're ready for the stress of the week. Wherever you're listening to me, I do hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, and beautiful week ahead. Thank you so much for choosing to click that link and deciding to listen to the Monday Morning Rant podcast. My podcast is everything good, everything pure. I don't say anything yama yama here, talk of God, talk of psychology, talk of relationship, everything positive and everyday living. You will find it on my podcast. Okay. So just grab your seat, your headphones, whatever you're listening to me with, and I promise you're going to have a jolly good ride. To my day ones, the consistent ones, the ones always commenting, always sharing, always reposting. Thank you so much for the support. I really, really do appreciate it. And for those of you that are always dropping comments, thank you so much. I love reading comments because it helps me see how people understand what I'm talking about, right? And it makes me feel like, oh, I'm not just talking to myself. Yeah, so I really do appreciate comments. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you are listening to me on Spotify, that's also fine. Follow me on Spotify and yeah, thank you. So this week, the topic for this week is the memoirs of a loved woman. I've done this episode before actually when I was writing, and I think that was 2 years ago, yes, leading to my anniversary, which is also in 2 weeks. I decided to release this episode 2 years ago, and many of you, I don't think many people read it back then than listen to me now. So hence why I'm bringing it back. I just felt a nudge. I was going to do another topic, but then I felt a nudge to go check it out again. My wedding anniversary is in 2 weeks, and this is sort of an appreciation podcast. Not just appreciation, but something beautiful and a peep into my life. I don't really like to talk about myself or like private stories about myself. But 2 years ago, I felt the nudge to actually do this. And now I'm also feeling the nudge to bring it back. So I'm just going to do that. Follow me. You will have a good, jolly good ride. I promise. I will enjoy it because talking, reminiscing is actually something I enjoy doing. Yes, it's why I'm very, very attached to pictures. And I'm going to just put a few disclaimers out there. I enjoy talking about relationships a lot, yes, but I'm not releasing this episode as, one of those married people that are just eager to advise and give counsel. I'm still very young and not just young by age, but young in marriage as well. So I'm not doing this to claim to know it all or to claim to have superior opinion or superior knowledge to other people. That's not it. I'm just sharing my story with you and hoping you learn one or two things from it, especially if you're still single or it doesn't even matter, single or not. If there's nothing for you to learn from what I'm saying, that's fine. Just enjoy the story, enjoy the ride. Either way, it's going to be fun. It's just me sharing my story and hoping you enjoy it. So let's get into it. Where do I even start from? Okay. The premise of this podcast, right? I think it's going to be like 2 episodes or three. I don't know, depending on how short I can make it. But I think I'll make it 2 episodes. And I'm going to talk about my single life, like life as a single girl, things I did as a single girl that sort of helped me through that journey of singlehood. So I'm hoping to the singles in the house, you learn one or two things from what I have to say. And I'm going to break it down. The next episode will be things I did prior to the relationship, like beginning stages of the relationship and after the relationship. First thing I'll say is many of you know I talk about my family a lot. I am one of those very lucky people to grow up in a non typically African home, right? My family is not the usual African parent kind of vibes. You know, I have two brothers, I'm the only girl. Life growing up was not all smooth and everything rosy, but one thing I'm lucky to say I have is growing up in a very healthy family. I have loving parents, I have wonderful siblings, and my parents are not just lovely, they are those kind of parents that showed you every waking day that marriage is sweet. Like they will stop at nothing to press your neck on a daily basis. That was growing up. You know that ew, you should get a room. Anya ma, why you kissing mommy? That was my childhood. That was me growing up. Yes, there was a period in my childhood where my dad was not around because of work. He was in Lagos. We were in Ilorin at the time, but it wasn't for a very, very long period. And he still used to come home. And in those periods of him coming home, one memory that stuck with me is one of those times he came back home from his journey. He didn't tell us he was coming, so it was sort of a surprise. You know how all of us are running to go and hug daddy? Omo, he just push us go one side, hugging wife first too. My wife before anybody else, you know. So that was what my childhood was like. Seeing my parents be good to each other, see them fight and get back from fights, see them love each other through conflicts, through the hard times, through everything basically. It was beautiful and it still is beautiful. Like, oof, I'm so grateful for my family. I am so grateful for that. And I'm going to link it to how that helped me as a single girl. Growing up, I had at some point in my formative years, I sort of had low self-esteem, you know. I didn't become fine early. I don't know how to put it, sha, but like at some point in my formative years, I looked a lot like JJ's twin brother. We looked so much alike, so I looked like a boy, and it sort of told on my esteem at that point. But I remember my parents loving me out of low self-esteem. Like my mom from primary school, she would tell me, "You are Jesus Queen. You know there are things you can't do that other people do." Those things sort of shaped my life. It made me from an early age learn to carry myself with grace and learn to know that everybody might be doing something, but I can't do it because I'm that special. Down to things that were seemingly small, like I remember when I was in primary three, primary four ish. Yes, so cultural dance, you know, prize giving day, there used to be all these cultural presentations and all of that. When we were rehearsing and all of that, I was you know, there are usually two people in front to chairman the entire group, like the best dancers. I was one of the two best girls dancing that cultural dance. And then dress rehearsals were supposed to just tie these tiny clothes on our chest. We didn't have breasts then, but you're supposed to tie this small thing on your chest and then another small wrapper on your waist and beads and all of that. And the dress rehearsals, I think parents were allowed to attend. And my mom saw the costume and she asked the teacher if it was possible to tweak it to be more covering And they say, ah, no, it wouldn't be possible. This is the look they are going for. And my mom told me when we got home, she told me, I'm sorry, but you are not going to be joining the dance because I'm not going to have you wear something revealing, whether you are young or not. From this age, I want you to know wearing revealing clothes will never be okay. Oh, I cried. I cried, and on the D-Day watching everybody and then watching one of the main girls have to replace me. Someone that was in the back line before was now in the front line because I wasn't going to dance. It was hurtful. It hurt my feelings as a small child, but my mom sort of explained it to me the best way she could. Like, this is why I'm taking this decision. It's for your good, and I hope you understand later in life. Oh, yes, now I understand. But those tiny, tiny, seemingly tiny things or privileges she took away then formed my perspective of life as a single girl, formed um, standards for me, my dress sense, my carriage, my idea of some things. It shaped my life, basically. It took me years before I could even try to wear a dress that was above my knee, just to a little bit of skin. I wasn't I was never comfortable with anything showing too much of skin. So when I see people now arguing why you can be a Christian and still wear revealing clothes, I don't understand it because from age 8, 9, 10, my mom made me understand it wasn't okay to wear revealing clothes regardless of the age. So these things are many more. Oh, my dad. Don't get me started, with my dad. My dad is the kind of man that will compliment you, hype you. Oh God, Popsy Sabi hype. Till now, he go hype you like this. So my dad used to call me my princess, till like I think uni, past uni self. So I always had this sense of I'm daddy's girl. I can't just be moved by small boys or things that small boys are doing. All this complimenting, you're writing poem for a girl, all this love letter ish nonsense. It didn't move me much because my dad will compliment you. You wear a new dress, it's like, oh, see my seed. See picking where I born, see as you fine. See, that was me. I will wake up in the morning and my dad said, you sure say you just wake? See as you fine, straight from sleep, looking gorgeous already. Things like that. So that was how I grew up. My dad will compliment you, even if you're wearing rags. I remember one time my mom bought me this oversized dress and I wasn't at home to try. I wasn't at home to try the dress on when she got it. So when I got back home from school, I put on this dress and honest to God, this dress looks like sack of beans on me. My dad looked at me and was like, wow, you look beautiful. I'm like, Dad, you don't have to lie. Say the truth. Say the truth. This dress is big. No, it doesn't matter. Whatever you and my dad will compliment you. We hype you. Whatever you choose to do. I remember career part two when I decided, oh, I wanted to do construction. My dad sat me down. These are the pros, these are the cons of being in a male dominated field. All of that. He supported me through that decision and through my life till now, safe. There are still things career wise and life choices wise that I'll just communicate and tell him that it is, and we always encourage you. So that was my childhood. And why am I saying this is to explain that our backgrounds affects the way we see relationship, the way we set standards and boundaries for ourselves. That's not to say if you come from a less loving background, it is a disadvantage. That is where self awareness comes in. You knowing, okay, what I saw growing up is not the ideal. my dad used to hit my mom, or my mom was always verbally abusive to my dad, or my dad was even absent totally, he wasn't around. All of that. I don't know what negative background you might have come from. You can decide to do differently. It's not easy, it's not smooth journey to break free from background related trauma, but it is something that is very, very possible, and it's something that can be done. You can begin from whatever age you are now. You are realizing what I grew up with is not the ideal. You can start to choose differently for yourself, because the way you grew up, whatever background you grew up in, will subsequently affect how you make decisions, especially relationship wise. For me, these things that my parents did with my sense of esteem, encouragement, and all of that helped me to learn to make decisions for myself very early. As early as a 13, 14, I decided, I told myself, if I'm ever going to have a boyfriend, it's going to be one. And I remember I used to tell myself, if there's such a thing as, oh, ex-boyfriend, I don't want to have more than one ex-boyfriend before I marry somebody. But ultimately, I wanted one off deal with love. I wanted my first boyfriend to be my husband. I didn't want all that, test running and test driving that we now do in this generation. So I decided that early. Secondary school, I told myself that early, I'm not going to be one of those girls. I'm not going to be in a relationship with somebody I know I cannot be married to. If he is not marryable, he is not boyfriend material. That was my sense. And my parents didn't have to sit me down and tell me, oh, this. No, from the way I saw what they had, from the way my dad hyped me up so much, like, oh, you are intelligent, you are gorgeous, you are beautiful. You don't need a boy to do this for you. Whatever you need, you can always come to daddy, ask mommy. You know, they didn't have so much at some points when we were growing up, but my parents gave us all they could. They put their heart always on the table for us, and it shaped my head. I wasn't going to settle for less. I wasn't going to settle for something that was not, optimum in my sense of optimum. These things helped me. And another thing I was lucky to have is parents I could talk to about boys. My mom is a health counselor, as many of you know. I used to brag about that a lot. She's a health counselor. I grew up with her taking me to some of her programs. There was these FLHE programs that was educating teenagers about sex, about their body, about boys, all of those things. My mom used to take me along, and I learned things that many parents don't allow their children coming. Like, for them to sit down and discuss those kind of things with their children is almost a taboo. For me, I didn't experience that. I could talk to my mom about sex. I could talk to my mom about my body, okay, my breast is growing, I'm feeling this pain. She's like, okay, that's normal. All of that period. I could talk to my mom about everything, including when I started having crushes on boys, when she noticed that I talked about a particular boy a lot, she would ask me, okay, what's going on? I'll tell her, I like him. She's like, it's not yet time to have boyfriends. Says, I'm like, I know that. And she taught me to understand that it's okay to like boys. What you do with that emotion is what is important. Like, your emotions don't control you, you control your emotions, right? So my mom taught me that very early in life, to understand my body, to understand the fact that there are changes in my body that can also affect the way I think. She taught me these things, and I could talk to my mom about boys. My mom knew every boy I ever crushed on in my life or liked at some point. She was friends. She was friends with all of them. Yeah, I think. Yes. Every single boy I've crushed on, my mom knew, and she sort of found a way to get close to them to make sure. Now, when I look at it in hindsight, she was being cool and all, but she was monitoring closely. Oh, shout out to my mom. She did a great job showing me how to be a woman, carry myself as a girl, even though I gave her, oh Lord, like I remember her teaching me how to walk right, stop walking like a boy. That one never worked sharp because till now I still used to match ground. I could talk to my mom about boys. I didn't have to depend on the counsel of my mates. I didn't have to ask my peers for advice. I could talk to my mom about these things. For those of us that are parents now that are listening to me, make yourself a safe space for your teenagers. It is the best option. Make yourself approachable. Make it so that your daughter can come and meet and say, Mommy, there's this boy that I'm liking. He tried to kiss me and I said no, but they can talk to you about these things and you teach them boundaries with their bodies, how to have boundaries with the opposite sex, and all those things. We need to break the circle. We shouldn't be parents that our children cannot talk to about these things. Your children cannot talk to you about sex. Our parents made those mistakes. We shouldn't do the same thing. So we should start to decide now to be better parents based on having difficult conversations with our children. Those things helped me a lot. Is why now when I talk sometimes, there are people that grew up in typically African homes that cringe because they're like, well, you don't have to say it like that, sugarcoat it. No, sugarcoating is how we begin to cover a bit of truth of the things people are actually supposed to know. There are things you should be able to say. Let's do better with communicating with our teenagers so they don't learn in the wrong places. While we were growing up, it was even easier for our parents, right? The world was not as digital as it is now. If you don't teach your teenagers now, there is the internet to teach them. There's pornography, there's a lot of negativity out there that will influence your children. If you refuse to have those difficult conversations with them, other people will help you to have those conversations with them, and they are going to teach them the wrong things. This is to shout out to my parents. I love you, mommy. I love you, daddy. Thank you so much for setting me up for success, right? Yeah. So moving on, like I said, these things I was privileged to experience as a young child, good relationship with my parents, and also see how beautiful their marriage was, sort of helped me make positive decisions for myself. And one of those decisions was looking around at what love looked like in my generation. I knew I was going to stick to the old fashioned way. Like, I wasn't interested in, I won't say I wasn't interested in boys, but that running after your feelings and allowing your feelings to lead every move you make wasn't me. So I remember uni days, I got a lot of lectures about how emotionless I am. And there are sometimes people that don't have, I don't want to say that I don't have as much knowledge, but because knowledge is relative, right? People that don't have the same upbringing as you see things totally differently from you. And sometimes their voices are the loudest because majority of people can relate with that particular mindset or that particular perspective. Like I said, I didn't grow up in a typical African home. We used to hug out offenses in my house. So I don't relate with violence. I don't know how to relate with condescension and all those things. So coming now to plain field where every other person is coming from strict, extremely strict backgrounds or parents that were not involved at all, children that have had a mind of their own from like age 6 and 5. They've done everything they wanted to do. They've experimented with themselves. They've coming into the picture. These people will now start making you feel as if you that grew up in a more stable background, you are the one with the problem. Do you get? There were some points in my uni days where people who were older who thought uh, they were trying to advise me, get, started making me feel as if I had commitment issues. Like, are you sure it's not because you don't want to commit to a relationship? Are you sure it's not because this one you might have emotional problems? You don't know how to be an emotional person. And at some point, those things sort of started creeping into my mind. I began to think about it. Do I have commitment issues? Because okay, this particular boy is a nice guy, he's good, he's not ugly, he has good manners, he also comes from a good family. So why am I not thinking relationship with him? And I'm grateful that again I could talk to my mom about these things and also talk to my dad to pick his brain on how men think, to understand how to now place myself in an advantage point. And I discovered no, I don't have a problem. I'm not an emotionless person. I'm just someone who holds self-control in a very, very extremely high standard. I didn't believe in, oh, go with your heart, go with your feelings. I couldn't relate because to me I felt feelings can fade. I felt there's no crush that you can't crush. Do you understand? Like all that infatuation and oh, I like this boy, I would do anything. I couldn't relate because I'm like, I can like somebody and then sit down to logically think, is this person good for my life? In the long run of things, will this person be a good husband? Will this person be somebody I would date conveniently for 5 years and it will be a good 5 years run? But when it's time for us to settle down, we discover we are not compatible and all of those things. So I did not have commitment issues. I wasn't an emotionless person because one particular one that I always remembered was when someone told me, with all these your standards, be like it's Jesus you want to marry you. And I'll just think about it. Like, actually, am I asking too much? Are my standards too high? Am I being impossible? Am I emotionless? Do I have lack of emotions? And I discovered no, I have emotions. I just learned early to put them under control. It is my emotions, so I can control it. It doesn't control me. And I discovered no, every other person had a wrong perspective because of where they are coming from. I am actually the one in the advantage point. Do you understand? So this is also to say to some of us that are self-acclaimed therapists like me. Pajawiri therapist, you see things from one kind streamline. If if you see somebody that doesn't know how to just, feel something and follow their heart, that sense of follow your heart, follow your heart. There are some of us that learned that your heart is not reliable, your emotions are not reliable. God is the most reliable constant, right? And logic comes after that. You run it by God, then you run it by logic before you trust your emotions. That was how I grew up. And in my opinion, that is better than always running with your feelings. Let's not be quick to give advice sometimes. With somebody is choosing not to date somebody. Omo, you people have not seen cases where there's this guy you like and everybody can see. There's some chemistries you can just see like that. These two people like each other and people just latch on that chemistry and they're just rooting for you people. They start shipping you together. And then when one of the parents decides that no, I can't pursue this relationship, you become everybody's enemy. People begin to advise you on how he's a great guy. He's a very great guy. Why don't you want him? You have commitment issues. Why are you not thinking? You need to think about him. They just look at you put together like, oh, you put look so good together. You look so good together is not enough reason to be with somebody. I hope you learned one or two things and you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed talking to you. I'll see you next week on another episode of Memoirs of a Loved Woman. Bye.